Hey, if you're alive today to be watching this video, chances are you're no stranger to stress. I mean, we live in stressful times, right? There's the climate change, there's the bills to pay, there's the oppression of the tyranny. And of course, if you're not worried about any of those, there's always the impending zombie apocalypse, am I right? Well, a little bit of stress can be helpful to us in the short term. It helps us get out of danger and just gets us motivated. We don't actually want to stay in chronic stress for very long because it can lead to a host of physical and psychological problems, anything from high blood pressure and heart disease to poor memory and ultimately depression. So we want to spend as little time in a stressed out state of mind as we can possibly be. In this video, I want to share with you a quick technique that you can use to physiologically flip yourself out of stress and into relaxation mode. It's called the breath to surrender. Now, in order to understand how this technique works, I want to explain a little bit about our autonomic nervous system, which is basically a structure in our body that helps to regulate breathing, heart rate, urinary tract, a whole bunch of other things. And it has two fundamental states that it can be in: the sympathetic nervous system, which we sometimes call fight or flight, and the parasympathetic nervous system, which we sometimes call rest and digest. Fight or flight, that's stressed out. We've got a high heart rate, we've got constricted blood vessels, we're sweating, our eyes are dilated, and we're creating cortisol, all that sort of thing that feels stressful, right? This is good for us when we're trying to get away from a lion, for instance. But the parasympathetic nervous system is where all the fun happens. That's when we're more clear-headed. That's when we have access to happiness. It's when we're eating. It's when we're having sex. All the good stuff happens in parasympathetic. So with this technique, what we're doing, and it's important to understand that the nervous system works like a light switch. It can only be in one or the other because they inhibit each other. So what we're doing with this technique is we're actually flipping the switch from sympathetic into parasympathetic so that we can be in that rest and digest state more often. Okay, so the breath to surrender. I learned about this from one of my massage teachers in school, and he would have us do this at the beginning of every class so that we could be a bit more mindful with our massages. It's very simple, only 3 parts. A full exhale. Notice that we do that first because we want to clear out all the stale air from our lungs before we start the technique. Then a full inhale to capacity. We want to actually stretch the lungs so that there can be a bit of a snap back. That's going to help the diaphragm to relax with the third part. And then the third part has an audible sigh. You're actually going to vocalize, use your vocal cords on the way out. And that is to help the diaphragm relax, because that's part of what puts us into that parasympathetic nervous system. So again, it's a full exhale followed by an inhale to capacity followed by an audible sigh. Let me demonstrate. I am always amazed at the way you can actually feel yourself relax. Again, full exhale, full inhale, audible sigh. One more time. I would like to encourage you to make this a regular practice in your life. If you do make this a regular practice in your life, you're going to notice that you start with an inhale a lot of the times. If you do that, that's fine. Just remember to exhale and have that be the beginning of your breath to surrender. Remember, it's 3 parts and it starts on the exhale. Again, that's going to clear out all the old air so that we can start fresh with our breath to surrender. Again, 3 parts: full exhale, full inhale, audible sigh, and then actually feel the physiological change that happens. If you do this 3 times in a row, you really will notice your body just calms down. We're kind of tricking the nervous system is what's happening, because you would never breathe into your diaphragm like this and take this time to do a full, deep, relaxed breath if you were actually in real stress mode, like if you were in physical danger. So when we're doing this technique, we're tricking the nervous system in a way into being in parasympathetic nervous system. So use this technique anytime you notice that you're stressed out. Put a reminder on your phone. The more you practice, the more you'll pull yourself out of sympathetic nervous system, and the more you'll protect yourself from some of the negative effects of chronic stress. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do, and remember, live each day deliberately. Grab a copy of our free guide, 7 Radical Shifts to Unleash Your Personal Power. It's full of tips, techniques, and strategies that you can use to help manage your mind and experience more clarity, connection, and freedom in your life. You can get your copy from the link in the description below.